Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our monthly webinar. The title of today's webinar is The Catch Coordination Kit, Changing Cultures, Changing Lives. My name is Peter Cribb and I'm the National Catch Program Director at the Catch Global Foundation. Before we get started, I would like to take care of a little housekeeping. First of all, our webinar today is being recorded and an archive will be made available on the catchinfo.org website, along with a PDF of the presentation slides. During today's webinar, we encourage you to ask questions via the chat box, which you can access through the control panel at the top of your screen. You can type in your questions at any time, but to keep us on schedule, we will try to hold off on answering them until the Q&A portion at the end of the presentation. When typing your questions into the chat box, be sure to select the option to send your messages to all attendees. Next, I'd like to let you know just a little bit about the Michael and Susan Dell Center for Healthy Living. We are an international leader in conducting research and providing programs that promote healthy living for children, their families, and communities. Our work fosters health behaviors among youth, influences policy and environmental change to support healthy living and advancing professional education and community service. You can find out more about the Centre and its work in school health on their website www.msdcenter.org. It is now my pleasure to introduce our special guests for today's webinar, Joey Walker and Dr. John Crumpets. Dr. Walker is a research coordinator at the Michael and Susan Dell Center for Healthy Living and a master trainer with Catch. Currently, Joey is the project director of the Texas CORD, that's a Childhood Obesity Research Demonstration Project, which is a CDC-funded study designed to evaluate community-based obesity prevention and treatment programs in Austin and Houston. Recently, she served as a project director for Lunch in the Bag, which is a preschool nutrition education project. Joe was also the project director for the Dell Catch Elementary Travis School project, which intricately involved in facilitating the implementation Catch in 93 elementary schools in Travis County. Joey joined the Catch team in 1999 as the director of the Catch Kids Club, really the first pilot study. Welcome, Joey. Dr. John Crumpets. Dr. John is a 35-year veteran of health and physical education in the physical and health education profession. He has experience at every level of the educational continuum. John is recognized within his profession as an expert on the psychological effects of sport and fitness activities on children's physical and emotional development. Starting in year 2000 with the University of Texas School of Public Health, John became a trainer. It's about 13 years ago with the Catch program. Dr. John speaks and trains from first-hand experience, not only as a public school educator, but as a child care director. As a member of the Catch team at the University of Texas, he has been instrumental in the development of the Catch training model. Welcome, Dr. John, and I believe you're going to get us started today.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning, all. This morning, what I'd like to do is provide a little context and background on the development of the Catch Coordination Kit before I hand this off to Joey. The Catch program was initially designed to create a truly coordinated approach to teaching children not only how to live a healthy lifestyle, but actually eat healthy food and engage in physical activity on a daily basis. That goal has not changed over the last 25 years. In fact, the effort to understand how to be successful in influencing and/or changing health behaviors through school-based programs has led to the development of the Coordination Kit, the focus of today's presentation. The underlying principle that has driven our work in terms of training and implementation efforts is that environments influence behavior as much or more than the content of the instructional program. That meant that school environments had to support the instructional program by providing opportunities for children to practice what their teachers were teaching them, and not only the children, but also the faculty. So we understood that what we were asking schools to do was to change their health culture or environment and their health behaviors. But how do you accomplish that? Can you imagine the challenge of changing a culture or an environment of an individual campus, much less an entire school district? So to provide some examples that have helped guide us in understanding that process. If you think about sport cultures, and if you recognize that why are certain sport programs always near the top in terms of performance or rating, even in high school or at the collegiate level, and you start to look at those programs that have what they call a winning culture and the values that they share and dedication to the overall goal of the program, dedication to a work ethic. They talk about discipline and taking responsibility for your actions, sacrificing for one another. There's no I in team, and they're a part of a special group. And that last one is interesting. The last training that one of our trainers did, and we always ask folks to think about, why do sport cultures or certain sport programs tend to be successful, and what are the messages that the coaches in our training are giving their kids? And one of the teachers responded that, we tell our kids that they're a special group, that they're not any better than any of the rest of the student body, but they are special in terms of sacrificing their own time and giving up their own interests for the betterment of the team, which ultimately supports the school. So again, it's a shared value within that program, and I think all of you can understand and probably have participated in some type of a sport program that influenced the way you perceive yourself as a part of that group and the importance of that group. Thus, you bought into those behaviors. The next place we looked at is we thought, well, if we're asking people to change their behaviors in a school setting, what we're actually doing is a faculty wellness program. So what's going on in the private sector in terms of employee wellness programs? And what we found was very interesting, that what the directors of employee wellness programs are recognizing is that it's not so much about the wellness program as it is the health of the work environment itself. And in healthy work environments, employees are encouraged to take risks and responsibilities. They're given the freedom to make decisions. If they do make a mistake, they're coached up. They're not seen as making a mistake. They're not micromanaged. They are provided the necessary training, and most important is they recognize their role in meeting the business goals. And the messages they're getting are that they are important to no matter what their role in the organization, their efforts are important for everyone to meet their goals and ultimately the goals of the business. And the metrics show that employees of companies that reflect these values are healthier than those who work in companies that do not share those values. It points not just to a fitness and health behaviors as important in identifying the overall health of the organization as much as it is relationships. Another interesting little tidbit I just saw this morning, I did not include it on the slide, is from an Alameda County Schools study back in 1979 where 7,000 people were studied over 9 years, and what they identified in the workplace was individuals with close personal ties and unhealthful lifestyles lived longer than those with poor social ties and more healthful behaviors. So we started recognizing that, again, it wasn't just the health behaviors as much as it was the employees buying into shared values and the importance of supporting one another and reaching reaching those goals, and also in their efforts to reach those goals. Those employees tended to be more healthful than others. We do have a really good example of cultural change in the Texas schools. I was telling Peter this morning, when we do trainings, we ask the participants, have they ever been a part of some type of an initiative in the public school setting that has sustained itself over a long period of time. We often get, and having taught in public schools for many years, there would always seem to be a new initiative or a new program or some magic wand that the administrators were now passing down to us, either from the state or national level. And it might be supported for a year or two, and then we'd get another new, holy grail passed in front of us. So when we ask the question, what has been a part of your professional career that has influenced cultural or environmental change and sustained itself, we can point to Texas, many other states too. I'm just familiar with Texas. In 1984, we went through a huge educational reform effort in the state. Ross Perot, some of you remember Ross Perot being the initiator of that on the political level. What it brought in was testing. We also had tests that teachers had to take. I had to take a test that documented that I still was good enough to teach to maintain my teaching certificate. We also had a teacher evaluation system that was implemented. We had the standardized testing. Essential elements became the TEKS. So many of you listening and all of you who have been in public schools nationally understand that the value that we all shared was taking the test. And we got really, really good, especially in Texas in 1992, starting in 92 through 96. You had kids who entered the system in 1984 that were brought up in this environment, and they got to be really good test takers. Whether we agreed with that or not, it did change the culture. So now we're looking at, let's switch gears now. We want to look at, okay, we're going to come into a school with a catch approach, and what we want to do is influence people to start changing their behaviors and following some kind of a plan and activities identified in a coordination kit. How can we help? How can we influence what people do and start supporting those behaviors that we're looking for? In the Texas public education reforms, that was state mandated. What we're doing is not necessarily state mandated. Yes, schools in Texas have to have a coordinated school health program, but they can achieve that in many different ways. What we're asking them to do is consider using the catch coordination kit along with the catch program to achieve that goal. So in instances where they don't have to do it, what we also found in our work are there's 3 guiding principles that help support that environmental change. Number 1, it has to be easy. In other words, it does not require permission. The people or the things you're asking people to do, they already have the skills to do that. And they could do it even in the absence of any direction from administration. The second is it has to be of some value. So if I'm going to do this behavior, I'm going to perform the required tasks, what is that value to me as an individual? And we find that it's not too hard to sell that value, the value of being healthy. We ask a guiding question we ask at the beginning of every training is, the overall goal as you leave today is you leave with the belief and the agreement that we all want to live and work in a healthy place. And pretty much, we get total agreement on that. It's just how to do it. So the value, again, in practicing these behaviors is basically, we know that children who are healthier are better learners, and employees who are healthier are more productive, more happy in their work, and more focused on attaining those goals. And the last one is kind of interesting. What we're asking people to do is to practice these behaviors. Are these behaviors normal? If you're asking somebody to do something that they don't feel comfortable doing or they can't see themselves doing, they're probably not going to embrace it. So if I'm in a school and they're asking me to practice healthy behaviors, be it nutrition or get up away from my desk and be more active, then if I see other people doing and practicing that behavior, and it appears normal to me, I'm more likely to adopt that behavior and practice it myself, especially if I see my administrator practicing those behaviors. So in a nutshell, what we're asking to do and proposing is we have developed a catch coordination kit over many years of development of the catch program, and we now have a resource that has shown benefit in helping achieve those changes environmentally at the schools that have embraced and implemented the coordination kit. And I'm going to turn this over to Joy and let her explain what all of that is about. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. John. John does such a good job of painting that picture and providing that context for really what are we trying to do in terms of not only implementing Catch, but really changing and creating that culture that supports health and well-being for not only our kids, but for those adults in that environment as well. So what I'm going to do is just get into kind of the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about in terms of the Catch coordination kit, and just to kind of refocus us. So we're asking folks to change their behavior in order to create that environment and make it more supportive for health behaviors for kids and for adults. Keeping in mind that oftentimes schools are set up in silos. It's very difficult to actually coordinate and communicate across the different areas in a easy, simple way. So keeping those principles of easy, shared value, and something that's normal, usual behavior in mind, that's kind of what we went into creating that Catch coordination kit. So John mentioned our goal in terms of we want to be a school of faculty and staff and kids that live and work and learn in a healthy place that speaks a common language that supports those health behaviors. So that's our goal. And what we have to do is make it easy for folks to actually do tasks and behaviors that support creating that environment. And one thing to be clear about is this takes everyone working together. This is not Catch, coordinated school health, that whole school, whole community, whole child approach. It is not any one person's job to do. It definitely takes everyone working together, but we have to make those tasks and opportunities to participate in that process as easy as possible. But also through our experience, what we found is that you have to have some group of folks that actually mobilizes that effort and kind of coordinates those tasks and informs the rest of the campus. So everybody's involved, but you definitely have to have a champion and a team or a committee to kind of lead and guide that process. Now, throughout the Catch family of materials and including the Catch coordination kit, that common language that we use is embedded in all the Catch materials. Some examples of that language that we try to get, that common vocabulary that everybody knows and uses, is things like Catch MVP, Go Slow and Whoa food, the nutritional categories that we use to try to teach kids about healthier foods versus less healthy foods. Catch MVP is just simply a play on words. Instead of most valuable player, we've changed it so that now we are trying to create Catch MVP schools, Catch MVP kids that move and stay active, value healthy eating, and practice healthy habits every day. Again, encompassing those key risk factor behaviors of physical activity, nutritional behavior, but also encompassing all kind of health behaviors with that practice healthy habits to bring it all together. Go Slow and Whoa, many of you are probably familiar with the nutritional language. And again, it's not the end all be all, but it's a really good way to kind of capture those foods that are healthier for kids to have more of, and that all foods fit, but we have more go than slow, more slow than whoa. And again, that's kind of that language that's blended throughout the Catch coordination kit and the Catch materials to try to create that common vocabulary and that shared sense of value about health and wellness. So here we go, getting into the meat and potatoes. So when you're talking about the Catch coordination kit, we are talking about a process of working together to create that environment. But one thing that we've kind of learned in this process is you have to have a program or a product, something for those folks to actually do that's easy and coordinates with other areas. So these are the kind of the nuts and bolts of the Catch coordination kit. What that includes is a Catch coordination kit binder. In that binder, you have the Catch team guide. That's that champion team kind of roadmap to guide that process. It has master copies of all the coordination folders, and it has a CD with electronic copies of everything. So you just have one set of hard copy materials, but you have electronic copies to get that out on your shared drive and make it available to anybody in that school environment. Those 6 coordination folders, those are so that we present opportunities for everybody in a school to be involved in this effort, from the administrators to classroom teachers, PE teachers, and even librarians, custodians, nurses, so on and so forth. Everybody in the school has a part to play and kind of offers one little piece to that puzzle. So what we've done with the coordination kit is we have broken down the school year into 6 6-week themes. What we're trying to do is organize everybody's implementation efforts around a common theme every 6 weeks. So this is basically where we get at providing those opportunities that are easy and normal activities for folks in the school to do so that they can actually be involved in this coordinated effort. So those themes are getting started, creating healthy change, speaking the language of catch, family matters, celebrating our successes, and then completing the year with next steps. So now let's take a look at a closer look at that catch team guide and what that actually involves. That team guide, as I mentioned, that is the bound booklet that you'll find first in the catch coordination kit binder. And this is basically a team or a catch champion's roadmap for the entire school year. It will help guide not only the school's effort, but your effort as that team or that champion on that campus for you to get this information out to everybody on your campus to be involved in. In terms of just simple logistics, we suggest that the champion or someone on that team be the keeper of this guide and the binder materials. Again, you have electronic copies available to everything, but you, as a champion, we kind of suggest that you be the keeper of the stuff, if you will. Inside the kit for every theme, so for every 6 weeks, you're going to have a big picture page. So regardless of whether or not anybody else in the school knows how their little piece of the puzzle fits, we want somebody to know the method behind the madness and have that kind of big picture of how it's all coordinated. So this is the champion and the team's snapshot of all the different areas of the school and those simple, easy, doable tasks that we're asking them to do to be a part of that coordinated effort every 6 weeks. So just a one-page snapshot view of what's going on each 6 weeks. Also, every theme will have some theme checklist. Whenever you're trying to accomplish anything, 9 times out of 10, you have a little checklist of what you need to do to get that done. So these are simply suggested items for the team to use to help guide their efforts to carry out the themes every 6 weeks. They are great for using it at your catch team meetings as agenda items, again, just to delegate tasks and help you make sure that you're covering all your bases every 6 weeks. So if you actually opened up the catch team guide to theme 1, this is basically what you'd see. You'd have the little handy checklist, step-by-step guide of what you might need to do in order to carry out this first 6 weeks theme. And then you have your big picture page so that you have that snapshot view of what might be happening in all the different areas of the school as you carry out that theme. So that pretty much is just a real quick overview of the catch team guide, that bound copy. Now let's take a look at what's in those individual coordination folders. And remember, there's 6 individual coordination folders, from administrators to parent leaders, specialized and support staff, child nutrition staff, PE, and classroom teachers. Inside those coordination folders, these are the keepers of those tasks, those opportunities that we're providing everybody in the school to be a part of that coordinated effort. These are those easy, doesn't require permission, individual tasks that we're asking folks to do. And as a note, when we encourage folks to get started with catch, we boil it down to one thing every 6 weeks. Just start with the 1-star task. Just do one thing every 6 weeks. It makes it a little bit more doable considering the time crunch that we're all faced with in schools nowadays. Included in those coordination folders are also ready-to-use resources. 9 times out of 10, if we give you a task in a 6 weeks theme, we have provided the actual resource. We know that you don't have time to recreate the wheel, go create a newsletter, make a banner or a poster or what have you. So we have created those resources for you, and those are included, again, hard copy and electronic form in those coordination folders. Again, in terms of logistics, as far as who keeps those 6 individual coordination folders, we suggest that the keepers of that stuff be those particular specialty area members of the catch team. So if you have a classroom teacher on your catch team, we suggest that they keep that classroom coordination folder. If you have an administrator, again, they get the administrator's folder, and so on. So what's in those coordination folders, just very briefly, is simple introductory text so that we are explaining why catch, why you, and what's your role. Just boiling it down into a nutshell, what we're asking you to do and why it's so important that you be involved in this. Then really what we're really focusing on in those coordination folders are those theme implementation tasks. Basically, all you look at is 1 page per theme. So nice and digestible pieces, and then of course you have those ready-made resources that are available in Spanish and English already created for you. Thinking or looking at one of those theme task pages, again, 1 page for every 6 weeks so that you don't have to overwhelm your teachers or the folks in your school. Just show them 1 page every 6 weeks, and all we're asking them to do is just do one thing, that 1-star task. So what we do is we break up a 6 weeks theme into star initiatives, where we have 3 suggested tasks that you do to be a part of that coordinated theme that 6 weeks. You have a 1-star task, 2-star task, and a 3-star task. We also include, again, remembering that value of living and working in a healthy environment, we include a My Health Booster. One small thing for you to think about your own health and wellness and what you can do to kind of help yourself along those lines. Also, in that right-hand column, if there's any task that has a resource associated, we give you a little icon so that you know what you're looking for when you're trying to look up that resource. All right. So, again, very quick overview of what that coordination kit entails, how it's organized, and how it's laid out. So it's a little bit hard in webinar form, but we are going to try to give you a little picture of what would a theme look like. So thinking right at the beginning, first 6 weeks, that big picture page, this shows you a snapshot of what we're asking everybody to do or be involved in that first 6 weeks. Principals, we're asking you to read catch morning announcements during a catch kickoff week. Parent leaders, we're asking you to send home the Catch MVP newsletter. Specialize in sports staff, posting the Why I'm a Catch MVP sign during that week. Child nutrition, we give you catch character signs to post during that week as well. PE teachers, we're asking you to play some Catch MVP games during that catch kickoff week. And then finally, rounding it off with classroom teachers, we're asking you to teach the first lesson of your grade level curriculum that pretty much introduces those catch characters. So that's your snapshot view of that theme. So what might that look like in a school? So we mentioned we're asking principals or administrators to read those morning announcements. Here you go, folks. There's your script for day 1, day 2, so on through the week of reading those catch morning announcements. Again, thinking about what John said in terms of how do you actually get people to be involved in this and go along with this and be a participating member. You make it easy. Here's your script already written out. It's normal, usual behavior to do announcements in school. Again, hand it to them. Hey, can you read this every day this week during our catch kickoff week? Simple, doable, and normal. Parent leaders, we're asking you to make available or see how you can get out the Catch MVP newsletter. Again, it's available in English and Spanish, and basically, if you notice, it summarizes kind of what the principal was telling the faculty and staff and students in the school about what is Catch and what does Catch MVP mean. Again, it's all coordinated. Then we come to those specialized and support staff members, and this is kind of our catch-all term for counselors, nurses, librarians, custodian, office staff, anybody under the sun. And we're asking them to complete that Why I'm a Catch MVP sign and post it in their area during Catch Kickoff Week. Very easy, just fill in the blank. How much time does that take? Boom, little tape, post it outside your door, just like Miss Lewis here at Odom Elementary, the music teacher does, and post that. So now we're creating actual adult Catch MVP role models for the kids. They're learning about what a Catch MVP is, what that means. Now they're seeing some actual role models in what that looks like. We also give them some Catch character role models in terms of what those Catch MVPs looks like. And these are summaries of basically what the principal or administrator has said on morning announcements. Now they're getting a visual reminder of that as they go through the cafeteria during lunch during that week, and they see that same kind of consistent message. What does that look like in a school? Here's an example of some of those signs posted as the kids go through the tray line. They see that kind of common language, go slow, whoa, Catch MVP. Moving on to our PE teachers. Basically, you have this resource available in your Catch activity boxes, but we have just taken some basic common Catch games and modified them to include that Catch MVP language. And we ask during the Catch Kickoff Week, play some of these Catch MVP games so that we're using the same common vocabulary, not only through role models, the characters, but actually being active and participating in some of those games and activities as well. Finally, we come to those classroom teachers. And again, we know that it's very difficult to make time to actually teach health lessons during the school day, but what we're asking early on in the school year is just to teach one lesson, at least that first lesson from your grade level curriculum, which typically introduces the Catch characters. As you can see in this picture, they've posted the introductions and also have an extra copy of the Catch character signs in there as well. But this is actually handouts from the first lesson in the third grade curriculum. Hopefully, again, it's a little bit harder to show in webinar form, but you see the small, doable tasks that we're asking folks to do, and then how it's all coordinated across the different areas. So even though, you know, Mrs. Johnson in second grade is doing her little thing in her classroom, it is connected and coordinated with what's happening in PE, what's being done in the cafeteria and in other areas of the school, just to kind of, one, create that environment and present those opportunities for everyone to get involved in this coordinated effort. And moving forward in terms of getting started or getting revitalized with your Catch coordination kit, first things that we would suggest as your next steps is go ahead and get the Catch coordination kit. It's the latest resource, and really putting that, actually giving you simple, concrete tasks for you to actually put that coordinated process into place. Training is the key with that. It really goes more in depth into, okay, how is this actually going to work? How is it going to work for me and my campus and with your team? So again, second order of business is form, or if you already have a team, meet with your team and kind of sketch out a plan. Also, again, these are common first steps or second steps when you get started with this. Meet with your principal, get his or her support, because you know you don't have a snowball's chance in heck of making much of a difference if you don't have them on board. And then it's a process of informing your faculty. And there, obviously, we would stress kind of what we've been hitting on this morning is communicate with them about those themes and the tasks and emphasize the ease and the simplicity of being involved in this. And one thing just to close for my part of it is we're not telling everybody that they have to do this. Obviously, it would be great if you had every single faculty and staff member on board doing their task. What a picture that would paint and the environment that would create. But again, these are simply presented as opportunities for them to be involved in that effort, and we try to make it as simple and as concrete as possible for them to be involved and help support their own health and wellness, but ultimately the kids in those campus environments. All right, so now I think we will open it up for questions.
Sure, and either Joey or John, question from you. Regina asks, is there a specific order to do the coordination folders?
The coordination folders or the themes?
I guess she might be a little confused here with folders and themes, but let's go with themes.
Okay, that's a really good question, because obviously we're in the middle of a school year, so if you're getting started with this, and honestly, we kind of tell you it's what you want to do or you feel comfortable doing. I think it's perfectly fine to start with theme 1, even though you're in the middle of the school year, and take your time doing that. And since you're introducing it in the middle of a school year, you might take longer than 6 weeks to do that first theme, but it's more about getting yourself organized and kind of kicking that off with that theme 1 and that catch kickoff week, rather than kind of jumping in midstream. If you're already familiar with catch or have some experience with the coordination kit, again, it can be up to you and your catch committee whether or not you want to start with the theme that corresponds to that 6 weeks that you happen to be in.
Great, thanks, Joey. And Regina, another part of your question there was, has the concept been conducted in a hospital setting? We've got a couple of folks I'll refer you to from Missoula, Montana, and DeKalb County in Illinois. Lisa Cummings and Lisa Timms. I could connect you together, and I'm sure they'll be able to share their experiences with catch in the hospital. John or Joey, either one, is there a catch kit for secondary schools? We talked about K through 5.
Yes, I'm sorry, that was my bad. I should have mentioned that at the very beginning. We have coordination kits that are specific to elementary school, so K through 5, but we also have a coordination kit that is specific for middle school. So yes, we have coordination kits to cover you K through 5 and 6 through 8. The question, I think Jennifer asked about somebody asked about the early childhood. Angela asked about, we have created a coordination kit for early childhood setting. It is not yet available. We're still finalizing the content and revising that, but we hope to have that available in the very near future. Great question.
Is that all set for after school settings, Joey?
For the after-school setting, we have worked on and are about to release a best practices guide. It's because that setting is a little bit different than the school setting, and I'll let John kind of take over from here, but we have a best practices guide that we're about to release that is similar to this resource, but it's not quite a coordination kit, I would say.
The after-school programs present kind of a unique challenge in that they are so diverse in their organization and their practice. I had a child care program for about 8 years and an after-school program. We implemented catch, obviously, but we created an environment in our own way. It was just difficult, and especially doing trainings for multiple YMCAs and after-school programs, that has been a challenge. And of course, a lot of what drives the coordination kit and the development of the coordination kit were the research interventions and it being evidence-based. So we're careful about designing those coordination kits for those settings where we don't have a good solid evidence base that something does or does not work. I can tell you, though, from my own experience, that implementing the go, slow, and whoa and the value of physical activity and talking about that every day. And of course, in our program, we had a nutritional program and a physical activity program that supported that. That just simply that environment using the catch philosophy and practices did change, had a profound effect on our kids and also their families.
We've just got about 45 questions here on how much the kit costs. And that's it's $220 for $225, and that does come with a CD with all the component folders on that CD as well.
Yeah, and all the catch materials, as probably most of you are familiar, are available through Flag House. They are the national distributors of the catch material, so you can go to them to actually order your coordination kit.
There's a direct link on the Catch website, catchinfo.org.
To the Flag House site.
Yes, absolutely.
I believe somebody asked about if there was a coordination kit based on 9-week grading periods. Great question. That is something that is in the works. We have modified the six-week themes so that if your school happens to operate on a 9-week theme, 9-week grading periods, we do have something created. Again, it's not finalized and available commercially just yet, but we do have something in the works, so we could probably get you something soon.
And I think to address that also, schools tend to kind of be confined or maybe influenced or controlled by time periods or grading periods. The Catch Coordination Kit was developed for the common 6-week grading periods to coincide with the normal planning period. Although those themes can be introduced, you can identify 6 times during the year to introduce the themes. Again, it's not based upon an instructional grading period as much as it is a consistent message and practice where people are sharing those values of being healthy, especially the adults, obviously, and the kids are living in this environment where they're constantly reminded and have opportunities to practice those behaviors.
One other question I did want to get to is somebody wrote in, what if no one wants to help you with the kit, or can you just do your tasks? That's a great question and a very realistic question. Honestly, kind of our message is obviously the more the merrier. Wouldn't it be great if everybody participates and kind of does their tasks and it's all coordinated together? But the reality is not everyone's going to do this. So our suggestion, kind of our encouragement getting started, is I always like to say you and a buddy. If you're the champion, if you're the one who's kind of bringing this to your campus, you commit to doing your task and you bring a buddy. Whoever is your best friend on campus, the one who owes you the most favors, whatever it might be, you grab somebody and just say, okay, here, you're in this with me and we're going to start here. You can start kind of building that snowball and let it roll down the hill from there. Even if you just get a handful of people doing some of these little tasks in these coordinated areas, and it's coordinated together, that's going to start painting that picture. That's going to start creating that environment, and it starts somewhere, and then again, it grows from there. But just start where you are and with the folks that you got on board.
Great, thanks, Joey. Someone's asking, are grants available? Good question, Dawn. For grants, I'm with the Catch Global Foundation, and I'd be happy to talk with you about your situation. Part of our mission, obviously, is to help schools implement coordinated school health and catch. So please feel free to contact me at my email, which is up on the screen right now. We can talk about that possibility. Joey, what are some of the critical elements for success in this? As you've gone along, what has to happen at the school level for a successful implementation?
Over the years, as you might imagine, we've done tons of research and have lots of experience working with schools trying to implement catch and bring about this coordinated effort. And by and large, the things that really make the biggest difference is, number one, is you have to have a strong, motivated champion. That by far, and surprisingly, is just above administrative support. So those are kind of 1A and 1B, but basically if you have a strong champion, you can get some stuff done even if your principal isn't completely pushing it or behind you. You will see change kind of happen on a campus that has a strong, motivated champion. But again, very close second to that is that administrative support. If you have, and we're not just talking about administrative support in terms of slap you on the back, hey, yeah, that sounds great, good job, way to go. We're talking kind of actionable support, actually giving you time at a faculty meeting to say, hey, boys and girls, we're in theme 2. Don't forget your task is blah, blah, blah. See if you can't do it. Give a couple of pats on the back to those folks who had already completed their task, and kind of that demonstrated support in terms of giving you time to meet, giving you time to inform your faculty and so forth. Those are kind of the top 2 things that really critically affect schools that implement at a high level.
Great. There's a question, last question here on the SHAC committee. We do have resources on the website. We actually have PowerPoint presentations that can be used as well, and some sample lessons. Again, feel free to contact me at my email address there. I'm actually presenting to the Louisville SHAC tomorrow night. I think that just about wraps up our questions, and there were some fantastic questions, and just coming back to Dr. John and Dr. Joey Walker to thank them just so much. I mean, 16 years these two have been at it, working at refining this message. It is a process. We do need to have tools to use in that process to teach kids healthy behaviors, but I know for a fact I can go into a school and know the coordinated school health and catch is being implemented by what I can see, what I hear, and what people are doing. So once again, Joey and John, thank you so much for your time today and everything you've done over the years. And thank you all for your checking in today with us. And we'll be back in touch very soon with the next Catch webinar. Bye for now.